Hey guys, so I'm Jason Morris, and this is three strategies to take more listings in 2018. Guys, just to tell you a little bit about me, I work in the Myrtle Beach, South Carolina market, and I've been an agent in that market for gosh, 14 years now. It doesn't seem like it's been that long, but it's been a while. But I'll tell you, my market, I've worked in about every situation that I think you can work in. Back in back in 2005, 2006, we were like a lot of other places. You'd pull up our market and there'd be like three oceanfront condos. And so I understand what a lot of you guys are going through, even though my market inventory is steady going down, it's getting tougher. For sale owners are selling themselves, all that fun stuff. But the thing is, there's a lot of different places to look for leads. A lot of agents think that, hey, they got to be doing Facebook right now. They got to be calling the brand new for sale owners or the brand new expireds. I'm going to share with you three strategies. I share a lot of strategies and stuff like this in my group coaching. If you guys are interested in joining my group coaching, just send me a message and I'll give you a coupon code for a discount on the first month. But three strategies to take more listings in May of 2018. So guys, strategy number one, okay? I know you guys have heard circle prospecting. I know you guys have heard people talking about it, and you've heard agents doing it, and you've seen some of these people doing it on Facebook Live, and it looks painful as hell. And I'm just being upfront with you. And I'm going to keep this to 30 minutes today. I have a habit of going a lot longer, but I'll answer whatever questions you guys have at the end. Whatever questions you have, if you're on Facebook, if you're on Zoom, go ahead and ask. I'll be glad to answer them when we get to the question and answer part. So circle prospecting. A lot of you guys know that I don't really consider myself a cold caller, even though I am a prospector. I'll pick up the phone and dial numbers all day, but I like a little bit warmer. I like warmer leads. I don't like to cold call, right? What I like to do, and I feel like we need to do this as agents, is we need to call with a purpose, right? And that purpose can't be, the purpose can't really be like, hey, Mr. Seller, did you want to sell your home today? Yes, no, maybe, click. I feel like if we do circle prospecting and we do it with a little bit more of a purpose, then we'll get better results from it. I'm going to give you guys some ideas on this too. So ideas to call. Number one, if you're going to circle prospect, I wouldn't just pull out the phone book and start dialing. I don't think that's the way to go. I think you need to be targeted. I think you need to think it through. I think, there was a saying when I was in the first got in the real estate business, and that saying was, well, it wasn't really a saying. I guess it was a statistic. Statistically, they said that if you take a house that just went on the market today and you knock on 10 doors to the left, 10 doors to the right, and 10 doors across the street, or 20 doors across the street, that statistically one of those houses is going to go on the market in the next 12 months. One of those houses you're knocking on. And which is probably, that's roughly an 8% turnover, which is pretty normal in a normal market. But we've all seen this. We've seen these times where, hey, 123 Main Street went on the market and it wasn't 2 weeks later, 13 doors down went on the market, right? So if you're going to make calls, and I believe in calling versus door knocking, okay, and the reason being is because I can dial 6, 7, 8 numbers in the time that it's going to take me to get from door number one, especially if they got long driveways, to get from door number 1 to door number 2, door number 3. Man, I could have called 10 people, 12 people, and left voicemails. And I think that just listed, just sold, just went pending. I think these are like very, very valuable things to call because you have something of interest that these people want, right? You have something of value, and everybody wants to know, what house just came on the market in their neighborhood, which one just, whose house sold and what did it sell for, and everybody wants to know when a house goes pending, right? Especially if they're thinking about selling. So if you're calling these sort of leads and you're circle prospecting, you're making these sort of calls. And now if you don't have any listings, now I know some of you guys are new, and yeah, Jason, exactly. Calling with a purpose. I know some of you guys are new. You don't have listings. But here's the thing, your office has listings. Your office has stuff that just sold. Your office has stuff that just went pending. I mean, technically, you don't really have to have one to sell. I mean, you could call around solds that, in a hot market. I know I got a friend of mine that one of the things he likes to do is he likes to look for right now. Right now, we have record-setting prices in markets across the country. We do the same thing here in Myrtle Beach. I got a friend of mine, and one of the things he likes to do is he likes to call when he sees some of these really expensive oceanfront condos sell. He likes to call everybody in the building and go, "Hey, we got one pending," and he doesn't say, "Oh, Tom at Century 21 has one pending," or "This guy at Keller Williams has one pending." He just says, "Hey, we got one on the market that just went pending at 300,000. Would you be interested in selling yours if you could get about $300,000 right now?" Right? Now, we don't know what it closed for, but that conversation just goes a lot smoother than "Hey, this is Jason Morris with eXp Realty, ready to sell today," right? That's the conversation you're going to get hung up on over and over again. But if you're calling with a purpose, you're calling the just listed, just sold, just pending, it's going to be a lot easier conversations, right? And you're going to get a lot more interest on the phone, right? Because lots of times, if they are slightly interested in selling, they're going to go, "Oh, well, how much did it go on the market for? How much did it go into contract for? How much did it sell for?" Right? You're going to get those questions, and those people that are really inquiring, those are people you want to follow up with. You want to put them in your people farm. Number two, I'll tell you right now, with the market being really hot, inventory being tight, I know a lot of you guys like to do open houses, and I will tell you, if I was doing open houses right now, I would not do an open house without calling the neighborhood. I know some people like to send out mail, but to be quite honest with you, junk mail doesn't even come in the door at our house. It doesn't. It barely gets barely gets across the driveway. So, but if you send mail, if you're having an open house, say at 123 Main Street, and there's 200 homes in the community, and you call 200 homes, right? You call them a couple of days before, maybe call them again the day after. Then you call them after the open house again, right? And you're calling them at the open house going, "Hey, this is Jason Morris, eXp Realty. I had open house there on your neighborhood on Saturday. Man, we had a really, really good turnout. I was wondering if you knew anybody else's house, knew anybody else in the neighborhood that might want to sell their house." Like, how powerful is that, right? It's a lot more powerful than sending a postcard and praying something happens. And honestly, if you get GLEs through RedX, it's a lot cheaper than sending postcards. For what it's going to cost you to send postcards to probably one community, by the time you pay for the card, the print, the ink, and everything, addressing them, postage, probably for what one community costs, you could probably get 3 months of geo leads, right? And that's the program you can use to look up all the numbers in the community. But think about your open houses. How much more powerful would they be if you called and personally invited, left voicemails for the entire community a couple of days before? When did the open house? The day after, you called the whole community up, and you basically said, "Hey, this Jason Morris had open house on Saturday. I don't know if he came or not, but we had a fantastic turnout. I was wanting to know if you know anybody else that might want to sell their house in the community." I mean, that is like, I don't know a better open house strategy, I mean, maybe you can have fancy cars and hot dogs or something, but, don't even worry about that. Just make calls. All right? Number three, this is something that I've liked to do. And Kevin just said I had a solicitation for a house that I closed last week. They wanted $200 for 250 addresses around his listing. I mean, dude, number one, 90% of those are going in the trash before they even get in the house. That's number one. Number two is you could get 5 months of geo leads for $200. I think it's $40 a month, right? And it's crazy. Mail and postage is crazy. It's just not cost effective. Now this is a good one here that I've had a lot of success in the past with. And you guys in really hot, tough markets, where there's no inventory, guys, this is a strategy that will work for you. Calling places that have material defects problems, right? Now, I'll give you an idea. Like a few years ago, it's up in North Myrtle Beach. They had a big dredging project where they were going to do, they were going to dredge all of the, all these little Finger Lakes and stuff. And, and, uh, and they were talking about doing an assessment to be able to do it. Well, the problem was some of these homes were going to get assessed like crazy amounts, like $6,000, $8,000, 12,000. I think it was like 12 or 13,000 to begin with was the first estimate. So a lot of these homes had sold a long time ago, and it was older retirees, people on fixed incomes, things like that. And the thing about it was a lot of them, a lot of them didn't want to sit around and wait. You know what I mean? And Osiris, RedX is the provider of geo leads. If you guys go to jasonmorrisredx.com or just call them, say, hey, Jason Morris sent you, they'll waive the setup fees to save you $150. But these material defects, I mean, it could be HOA increases. I mean, I've had that happen before where an HOA project, all of a sudden the HOA fees went from $200 a month to $400 a month because of insurance or a major assessment or whatever it was. A lot of people want to get out then. I tell you what, I sold 3 in a building. This was a few years ago, like almost back to back. The HOA problem was that the building was 6 stories. It only had 1 elevator. The elevator was kind of on its last leg. It was old, and the elevator repair person said, hey, it's really hard for me to get parts now. So what ended up happening was basically the HOA decided that they didn't want to borrow money. The board did. They would just assess everybody for the damage for a new elevator. And the cost of a new elevator, there wasn't but like 40 units in there, and the cost of a new elevator was outrageous. It was going to be $5,000, and they wanted to do three payment assessments, basically $5,000 billed in 3 payments. And you think about it, like in today's world, I mean, I think there was some crazy statistic, like 60-something% of people live paycheck to paycheck. How many people have an extra $5,000 laying around to pay for an elevator? And especially if you're on the first or second floor, third floor, you might not even use the elevator, right? You're like, damn, I could walk up the stairs for $5,000. So that was a really hot building there because people didn't want to pay the assessment that was coming up. It could be road construction, it could be litigation. I mean, you can get really, really creative and call around those things, right? And I think that's really powerful, and that's a great source of leads for you. So let's see, what do we have next? Okay, this has been one of my favorite ones for a long time. Strategy number 2, calling for rent by owners. Now, calling for rent by owners, I'll tell you guys, it's not very rarely is it going to be today business. More than likely, I'm going to tell you how it's going to go. More than likely, you're going to take, well, there's 3 things I want you to know, but more than likely, number 1, the rental market's on fire. By the time you actually get to talk to the people, they probably rented the place out. And there's nothing wrong with that. Hey, good for them. But I have this belief that most people don't set out to be landlords. You guys have heard me talk about my mobile homes and working on mobile home parks and all that crazy stuff. Or a lot of you guys that are in my group coaching have heard me talk about, my whole idea for passive income and cheap rentals and stuff. Now, most people don't set out to be a landlord. Most people end up being a landlord because, hey, they have a house they couldn't sell. They inherited a house. They think they're upside down. Most people end up being a landlord by default. But that's number 1. The rental market's on fire, and it's probably going to rent before you get to talk to them. So with number 2, the number 2 thing I want you to know is that for rent by owners is a follow-up plan. And it's a long-term follow-up plan. And, this was one of the reasons I created my follow-up master day planner was because I wanted agents to have a written follow-up plan. And I think you need to have that. And even for these for rent by owners especially, I believe that you need to call them and follow up with them about every 30 days. And the reason being is because, the number 3 thing I want you to know, at some point, the tenant's going to move or they're going to get evicted. So let me tell you kind of how this goes. Okay, so if you rent out a place and it's May 2018, we know that more than likely May 2019 that lease ends. And if you've made 7, 8, 10 follow-up calls to this seller, you've sent them over your pre-listing package, you've pulled some comparables, you've kept them up to date, what's going on in the community. I've never had anybody say like, damn, I didn't work with Jason because he just kept me too damn informed. I like the agents that call me and they leave me alone until I'm ready to call them, right? Now, there are some people like that, but the more you can educate your clients, the more you can call them, the more you can follow up with them. And I'm not saying, hey, call them every week and go, hey, you ready to list today? You have to call with a purpose. You have to follow up with a purpose. You're following up because, hey, the house down the street went on the market. Hey, Mr. Seller, Jason Morris here. We talked a couple of months ago. I know you got your place rented. You mentioned that if you sold it, you needed 150. One right down the street just went on the market for 159.9. It looks pretty good. It looks like that's something that we're probably going to be able to get you. But you have to have a follow-up plan. And man, in my follow-up day planner, I went through this, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't realize how extensive my follow-up plan was and what I was doing, because sometimes I was just kind of going with the flow, and I was only planning a month or two in advance. And sometimes I had to get creative, but you need to follow up on 3-day weekends. You need to follow up when there's a holiday. You need to follow up when kids are out of school. You need to follow up. I mean, you got to get real creative when time change. A lot of agents don't think about this, but when it gets closer to the time's going to change, and all of a sudden it starts getting dark at 5:30 instead of 7:30, guys, nobody's going to be looking at houses in the afternoon. That cuts out a lot of people that would probably go look after they got off of work. They don't want to go look now because it's dark, right? So things like that, we need to follow up and be aggressively assertive when we're doing it. So now, strategy number 3. Now, this is nothing that you guys haven't heard me say before. But guys, for us to be successful in today's market, we need to take advantage of every single opportunity that we get. We got to do it. And strategy number 3 is calling old leads, old expireds, and old for sale by owners. Calling them, having meaningful conversations, and following up. That I'll tell you guys, you'll get more listings following up than you ever will get on the first call. If you guys listen to some of my videos, listen to some of the interviews I did with some of my group coaching clients that are on my YouTube channel, you'll hear some of them say that a lot of them were doing 5, 7, 10 follow-up calls, right? I believe that you have to do this. And these old expireds, old for sale by owners, I mean, here's the thing. If you're subscribing to Red X, you get them for free. But we have to call them. We have to follow up with them. And I'll tell you guys, on the first call, whether it's expired, for sale by owner, everybody goes, oh, I don't want to work with an agent. Oh, I don't want to list my property. That's what they say today, because that's the default thing. It's easy to get you off the phone. You know what I mean? It's very easy to get you off the phone. Most listings, I would bet, are taken between like the 5th and 7th, maybe the 10th follow-up call, right? And you have to have a plan for it. All these strategies we talked about today, if you're circle prospecting, you're calling around just listed, just solds, I just went pendings, you're calling around open houses and all this stuff. If you do not follow up with the leads you get from that, another agent will follow up, right? You have to take and you have to follow up with those people. And if you don't, like I said, another agent's going to follow up with them, but you have to have a follow-up plan. You have to have a follow-up plan for rent by owners. You have to have a follow-up plan for old expireds and for sale by owners. If they tell you, yes, I do still want to sell my house, that needs to be a person that goes in your notebook or goes in your CRM. I like a notebook personally. I like to keep things really, really simple, but it needs to go in your notebook, and you need to follow up with them literally until they sell the house and you can confirm it. They change their phone number, or I guess die, but you have to keep following up with those people. Chances are, if they wanted to sell their house a year, 2 years ago, a lot of us around the country, our inventory just started going down drastically in the last 6 to 12 months. So that person that had their house on the market a year ago, 2 years ago, yeah, maybe they really wanted to sell then, but they couldn't get quite what they needed to get. But now, to May 2018, they can get exactly what they wanted, you know? So how do I get numbers? This is one of the biggest questions that I have agents that ask me. That I tell them this, I say, oh, we'll call expireds, call for sale ball owners, call around neighborhoods, call around just listed, call around just solds, whatever. First thing they say is, how do I get numbers? Guys, there is not a cost-effective way for you to do it on your own. Believe me, you can ask Laura. I am the cheapest person that you can meet. I don't like to call myself cheap, maybe frugal, right? If I could do it on my own and I thought I could do better and save money, believe me, I would do it on my own. But you have to subscribe to a service. You just have to do it. It's very minimal. GeoLeads is $40 a month. I think for sale owners is $40 a month. The expireds are like $79 a month. And guys, I always recommend RedX. And I'm gonna give you. I actually wrote down 11 reasons I use RedX, but I'm gonna give them to you real quick, and then we'll have some question and answer time. 10 reasons I use RedX. Number one, it's easy. I get up. I'm supposed to be on the phones at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm not having to worry about leads or anything. I pop on my laptop. My stuff's right there, right? I have leads there. I just have to hit the reload button. Number two, their data is the best that I have ever used. I use their Onyx version, but their regular version, it's a little bit cheaper for you guys that are on a budget, and it's really good too. Every time I've switched, I'll tell you, I've used Vulcan 7, I've used LandVoice, I've used Arch Agent. I think I've used everybody that's out there. And every time over the last 12, 14 years, I've changed. I would use somebody else for a month or two, and I'd go back to RedX. It's the best data that I've ever used. Number three. And now this data that you're getting, I do want to tell you this one thing with buying data. All data is mined data. Expired data is mined data. For rent by owner, for sale by owner, usually that's gathered data. But mine data means they had to use some database, some algorithm, and they had to actually look it up and search for the numbers, right? There's not a website where people are going, hey, I live in such and such community. I'm going to put my phone number here so people can get in touch with me. There's nothing like that. RedX actually looks through databases and finds the numbers. Number three, fantastic customer service. If you guys call right now, tell them Jason Morris sent you. They'll help you. They'll walk you down through all the stuff. If you have a problem logging in, if you have a problem setting up your filters, if you have a problem doing whatever it is, they will walk you down through it. And number four, free CRM. Every time you subscribe, every person that subscribes gets their CRM, which is called Vortex. Vortex is all you need. You don't need to think about anything else for your seller leads. All you need is Vortex, right? And it's free, which is subscribing. Number five, they have a fully integrated dialer. Now, what I mean by fully integrated dialer, I want to tell you guys something because I've used everybody that's out there. Do you know how when a telemarketer calls you, and if you're on Facebook listening and you've heard this, give me a thumbs up. If you know how when the telemarketer calls you and there's that like 1 to 2 second delay, and then all of a sudden you hear all the people in the background talking. That is how it sounds with most dialers. With RedX's fully integrated dialer, it doesn't sound like that. Number six, free role play hotline for expireds. Are you guys looking for a role play partner? Raise your hand if you're on Zoom or click, just type yes. Yes, I need a role play partner on Facebook. I'll tell you, all the subscribers, all RedX subscribers, they have a free role play hotline just for their subscribers. You call them, they ask you easy, medium, hard. They ask you whose scripts you're going to use. They actually have mine uploaded. So they'll use my script with you. Then they record it, they critique it, and they send you the whole recording, right? And it's free. It's 100% free. So number seven, all your prospecting leads are in one place. Dude, it's so much easier. You're not logging into 5 different places to find your leads. You're logging into one. Number 8, these guys, I do some calls with them regularly because I do some training with them. They're constantly looking for ways to make their service better. See, now, RedX is different than a lot of these other companies because they actually mine their own data. A lot of these companies are repurchasing data. So RedX data is basically RedX's data. They're not white labeling it. Believe it or not, guys, some of these big big expired companies are white labeling their data. They're just buying somebody else's. That's why a lot of them suck the same, it's because it's the same data. So, but number 9, old expired leads are free. You just have to call them, get them to help you set them up. Number 10, old for sale by owner leads are free. You just have to call them, get them set up. Subscribe to expired, subscribe to for sale by owners. They give you the old leads for free. Number 11, the number 11 reason, and I don't know how we can make it any better, but they will waive the $150 sign up fee for you if you tell them that I sent you or use the link jasonmorrisredx.com. So guys, I know we went down through that quick. There was a lot of stuff in there. I packed into 27 minutes. I wanted to keep it under 30 minutes for you guys. What questions do you guys have? Do you have a problem in your business? Do you have a problem or question you'd like me to go a little more in depth on that we talked about? A lot of this stuff I talk about in my group coaching. If you guys are interested in my group coaching, just send me a message. I'm happy to help you out. You guys on Facebook, on Zoom, do you have any questions? Let's see, Eric. I'm from Oklahoma City, and on a local realtor Facebook group, I asked realtors about RedX leads that were marked do not call. Everyone responded and said this is a waste of money to buy leads, so not helpful. How do you handle leads that are marked do not call? I'll tell you, Eric, this is what I do. I call everybody. I call every number I get. Every once in a while, I'm talking about maybe 1 out of 100, somebody will say, oh, I'm on the do not call list and I don't like you and I'm going to turn you in. And this is my response. I'm sorry, Eric. I didn't realize your number was on there. I will put it on my personal do not call list and I won't call you back again. I'm very sorry for the inconvenience. By the way, do you still want to sell your house? If they scream at you, you hang up, you delete their number, move on to the next one. Guys, I'll tell you, I mean, I could be wrong, but do some research on the do not call list and see how many realtors you can find. And every realtor you find that has been fined, please send me the information and the link to it. You can send it to my email, jasonmorriscoaching@gmail.com. So let's see. What benefits are there to use the Onyx version? Okay, Onyx is a little different. Now they have the standard expired version, which I'll tell you guys, if you're brand new to calling, that's what I get. If you have a lower budget, I'd probably look at the standard ones. Okay, if you're a little bit more advanced, you're looking for something that's a little more, then tell them you want to use Onyx. They're going to ask you some questions. They don't openly market and they don't sell it to everybody. They only want to sell it to agents that are experienced calling. And I'm just being upfront with you. Okay, the difference though with Onyx, it's worth the money. It's $100 more, but it's worth the money because what it is basically they take and say 123 Main Street expired this morning. They go through their databases and it's more expensive to search this way. That's why it's a little bit more expensive. It's a little more expensive to gather this much data, but they give you every single number that they can find that's associated with 123 Main Street. So sometimes what you might get like the kids, their 16-year-old daughter's cell phone number, right? But you might get the brother or sister's number that lived there three weeks with them. You might get the ex-girlfriend that lived there 3 years ago. But if you get somebody that's associated with the household, you have the opportunity to say, hey, Kevin, I'm sorry, man. I was looking for your brother. Do you have a good number for him? And you wouldn't believe how many people will actually give you the number. It's unbelievable. But Onyx, you're going to get a lot of hard to get numbers. You're going to get a lot of numbers that, maybe their algorithm scored them a little bit different or a little bit lower than what it normally would, but it's still a correct number. But maybe that number has been associated with 5 addresses. I mean, honestly, I'm probably like that as a real estate agent. Gosh, I've rented several executive offices over the last 3 or 4 years. I moved a couple of times over the last 3 or 4 years, and God, my cell number is probably associated with all kind of addresses. So, but it doesn't mean that it's wrong. It just means it's been associated with a lot of addresses. So sometimes it might not be looked at as higher quality, but that number is correct, right? So you're getting all the numbers associated with that address. I'll tell you guys, I got a friend of mine that I help him sell some property every now and then. He uses a self-directed IRA, and he bought a house, and I don't know where he done this, but that I had the house listed. The house we expired it off MLS so that we could re-enter it, and he'd done a lot of work to it. We were going to wait a week, put it back on the market at a different price. He bought it in a self-directed IRA. His personal name was nowhere on it in the tax records. Somewhere or another, I don't know how RedX found his number, but I got his cell number using Onyx. And I got a bunch of those stories, but that's one I can tell you for sure real quick. What other questions do you guys have? You guys have anything you need a little help with, or maybe something you need a little more in-depth explaining? So, okay, how does the role play work? Well, it's for people that are actually subscribed to RedX. So you have to be a subscriber, and basically, you call them. They send you over to the role play hotline. They basically put you in queue. Um, some days I think they're a little busier than others, but they put you in queue, and basically they ask you whose script do you want to use. You tell them Jason Morris, and and basically they role play with you, and you can tell them easy, medium, or hard. And I'll tell you, one of the cool things they're doing, they're constantly looking for ways to help their clients. One of the things they're doing is they've set up a free Facebook group that's basically going to be a support group, and and it's it's basically it's just it's there to help you. But let's see, Brandon asked, would you still hate direct mail if all the postage and envelopes were free? Well, number one, it's never going to be free. If all the postage and all the envelopes were free, so your cost was zero with it, man, you could send out 1,000,000 letters a month. You'd get some kind of return on that, right? But in 2018, it's not free. Gosh, I think our U.S. Postal Service barely keeps their doors open, you know? Um, and I mean, it doesn't matter how you cut it. By the time if you're printing the letters at home, you're addressing them, putting a stamp on it, it's still costing you between the printing, the envelope, the stamp, it's still costing you $1. I mean, there's no way to get below $1. I mean, maybe with postcards, but still there, it's just going to be one of the fourth of page postcards, and it's going to be something that gets thrown away. So, but quite honestly, hey, thanks, Donovan. Um, you got a lot of postage and envelopes, enough to send 20,000 plus pieces. Dude, you should send them. I mean, they're not doing you any good sitting there at your house. You should send them. Not doing any good sitting in your closet or wherever they're sitting. But I'll tell you, my experience in the past has been the rate of return was pretty low, and but gosh, if you don't have to pay for envelopes, you don't have to pay for postage. Dude, do it. Author asked, is the Storm Dollar 3 lines or just one? Now, I'll tell you guys, I use the one line dollar. They do offer 3 lines. And the 3-line dollar, some of you guys want a 6-line dollar. I don't know how you do it. The 3-line dollar, I felt like went a little bit too fast for me. And I'm just being honest with you. I felt like it went a little bit too fast. I'd upgraded to the 3-line dollar. I ended up going back to the 1-line dollar. I felt like the 1-line dollar was a comfortable pace for me, and I could get through, depending on how many people answered, I could get through about 60, 80 numbers an hour. Where the 3-line dollar, I felt like I was constantly rushed. Now, Cyrus asked, do you have reverse lookup with RedX? Now, what you can do with RedX is you can do basically one-offs. You can do that with GeoLeads. I've done it with GeoLeads, like playing around and stuff. But yeah, you can look up like one number or one address. Yeah, Brandon, man, if I was going to do mail, I would still, yeah, you're right, dude. Just stuff in the envelopes is going to be a lot of time. But if I was going to do mail, I would do calls alongside of it. So how does the Storm Dialer compare to Mojo Dialer? I have Mojo since before RedX got theirs. Okay, I'll tell you. Um, I'll tell you a couple of different things. Number one, I wasn't a fan of Mojo Dialer. I felt like when I was finger dialing, just dialing numbers individually on my cell phone. At one time, guys, I had two cell phones and I dialed numbers on both of them. And then I got smart and switched to a dialer. But I'll tell you this, Mojo, I felt like there was something that I felt like I never got callbacks from leaving voicemails. I don't know if I wasn't letting it ring long enough or what, but there was that 1 or 2 second delay. There was that telemarketer delay. And you know what I'm talking about. You know, when they call you and you have that 1 or 2 second delay where you're saying hello, hello, and finally they answer. Okay, this doesn't have that. It's a live connect. So you don't have that, but you do have that with Mojo Dialer. That's the first thing. Okay, the second thing is Mojo Dialer is a third-party software, and even though they connect, sometimes when you're using two different softwares and they're not fully integrated, like those two are, or like really Mojo is with everything, sometimes data gets lost. Sometimes something gets lost in the translation, whether it's your notes that you're putting in the CRM or whatever it may be. I liked it was all integrated. It was one login. Everything was there. I didn't have to worry about logging into something else. That was just me, Really? Maybe that's something new they've just added. But yeah, that was a big deal for me with Mojo. There was that like 1 or 2 second delay. That must be like a new upgrade or something because it didn't do that like say 2 years ago. Hey John, what you up to, man? What other questions you guys have? Yeah, Arthur, I'll tell you, man, it's a lot easier with it all in one place. It's a lot easier. Arthur was saying that he was thinking of switching to the Storm Dialer with RedX from Mojo. But yeah, it's so much easier when everything's in one place. You open your laptop and you're like just ready to go. What other questions do you guys have? You guys listen on Zoom. Do you have any questions? On Facebook, do you guys have any questions? So how does GeoLeads work? Guys, GeoLeads is pretty cool. I think I should plan to do like a live demonstration for you guys. I didn't plan to do it today, so I didn't have it set up. But I'll tell you, GeoLeads is very cool. You drop an address like 123 Main Street. You select how many numbers around that you want it to call. You can look up by street. You can look up by area. You can draw a little square on there, whatever you want to do, and it just loads them into your database under a tag, and man, you're off and going. I mean, it's super user friendly. I mean, there's no delay or difficulty, or there's no real learning curve either. I mean, it's just super, super easy. Let's see. How much do you qualify a new buyer before you go meet with them? You know what? Uh, I'll tell you, buyers are tough, especially internet buyers. And Chris, I want you to, man. You guys, we talked about that a while back, dude. I want to get this on Alexa. I think this would be cool. So, how much do I qualify new buyers? You know what? I think you got to ask. Who are you? What do you want to buy? Um, what do you want to buy? How are you going to pay for it? How soon do you want to buy it? I think those are pretty important things. I told you guys on some other stuff. I used gosh, I guess it was about 12, 14 months ago. I was generating a lot of leads on Facebook. I was really frustrated because the quality of Facebook buyer leads honestly sucks. And and that's just the way it is. So what we were trying to do was, we were converting about 2%. We're trying to figure out how to get 3 to 4%, because if you're really damn good, if you're really good, you have a solid follow-up system with internet buyers and Facebook buyers, you're still going to have a tough time getting over 2 or 3%. But so what we ended up doing was we partnered with a credit repair person, and if you guys are interested in that, we can talk about it. Talk about it later. Just message me through Facebook or send me an email, and I'll be glad to talk about it with you. Yeah, Kathy, I'll have the recording probably later today. Yeah, you know what? Me and Chris have talked about Alexa Access. For you guys that don't know, Chris Ward is in my market, and he's a super smart guy. Super smart guy, and they have like all kind of like amazing technology going on. And they showed me this Alexa thing a couple of months ago when we were eating lunch, and I probably should have started doing it then, and I've just been dragging my feet on it, dude. I'm sorry. I need to. I need to because I think it would be really good. I like to do these Facebook lives, and I like to answer questions and stuff, and I think it's pretty helpful. Do you guys think it's helpful? Cool. Awesome. Awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, I got just a little more time here. Happy to answer any questions you guys have. If it's about Red X, I'll do the best I can. If I don't know, I'm sure that they can answer it for you. But and I'm happy to answer any other questions that you guys might have about what we talked about today. Cool. Well, I tell you what, guys. Hey, I appreciate you guys being on with me today. It was fun. If I can help you guys with anything, if you want to join my group coaching, send me a message through Facebook and we'll get you started. And I really appreciate it. Hey, if you want to sign up to RedX, tell them that I sent you. You're in my Facebook group, Real Estate Agents That Really Work. And they'll waive the $150 sign up fee, dude. Anytime I feel like I can save you guys $150, I feel like I should let you know. So thanks, guys. I hope you guys have a great day.